So the other day, I was talking to a friend who I work with at a school where I'm chaplain, and he was telling me the story of a counselor from a bigger school in the city who made a study on which types of families nurtured good kids, especially after high school. Like a kid would leave home with a good heart, a good conscience, good perspective on life. Not perfect, but at least good. And his first theory was, are the families who have a lot of rules the ones that have really good kids? Or are there families with no rules the ones who have really not so good kids? And he realized that's actually not the case. That there are families out there who have a lot of rules and very structured, very principled, have a very strong family structure, who there are kids that are really good, and similar families who have kids that aren't, right? And then he realized also there are families without a lot of rules that have kids who are really, really good, and have also kids that aren't really, really good. And so he started thinking, are there more deeper motives that really make and nurture good sons and daughters throughout high school, throughout childhood, and into real life, and into the real big world out there? And one thing that he realized was a trend in most, if not all, the good kids that leave high school and are now in college and older, is that they grew up in a household where they knew that their parents loved them, that they felt that, they experienced that. Regardless of many rules, no rules, you know, whatever that is, the kids knew that mom and dad loved them, that my parents loved me, and that they could point to experiences and to evidence that they were loved. And that's the challenge we have today, because family life is complicated, and we spend so much effort and energy trying to make sure our kids are in the right place, in the right school. But at the end of the day, in the midst of all that, a good question to ask yourselves is, am I loving my kids in the way that they can also experience that? Is it evident to them that I care for them? And love is not shown in spoiling them or giving them material goods. Part of that is, but it's a love that they know mom and dad are willing to give their lives for me, that they're sacrificing for me. And the fruit of that is, as we always say, it's joy, right? There's a peace and a joy in the family. There's affection. A kid void of affection, oh my gosh, right? And there's certain ages that require different degrees of affection, of communication, of accompaniment, of heart-to-heart talks, right? And we have to know, and there's so many books out there that will teach us that, right? But huge question, my friends, especially those that I know personally, ask yourselves this question. Do my kids know for certain that they are loved both in the affectionate way, in the virtuous way, in the sacrificial way? And if you even want to go the extra mile and ask your oldest child, can you say that I love you? And do you have evidence to prove that? It's kind of funny, but hey, you might get cool answers. Because I have asked personally some of the high schoolers I work with, do you know for certain that your mom and dad love you? And oh boy, I get all these different answers. Some say, yeah, of course, yes, I do. And parents, if you get those answers, hold on to that. That's the most rewarding thing that a mom and dad can have, is knowing, okay, my son and my daughter know that I love them, right? But there are other answers that are like, I don't know, I don't think they love me, right? That's when I say love that is not communicated, or love that does not have communication, is not known, right? Maybe it's time, if you're one of those parents, maybe it's time to talk to your kid. Maybe it's time to show them true affection. Maybe it's time to understand, what is the love language of my son, of my daughter, right? And every kid is different. Every child has their own personality, And every child has their own way of understanding what love is, or experiencing love, or appreciating love. And that's the job of the parent. Challenge yourselves to ask that question between spouses and not even to your kids, or may even just pray about it. Make it a thought experiment this week to ask yourselves, am I doing what I need to do to make sure that my kid knows that they're loved? Don't trick yourself into thinking, oh yeah, I know that they're being loved. They're just being rebellious. No. If you think that's the case, ask your daughter, ask your son, take them out to a meal or coffee or something and just ask them if you have older kids. Or if you have younger kids, even just over dinner, like, hey, I just want to ask. And you'll get the sweetest answers. You'll get the sweetest answers, especially if they're younger. They might just come over and hug you. So, parents, embrace that vocation. Teach your kids how to love, because by showing them what love is, by showing them what good hearts are all about, it will make them feel so real and good and satisfied that they will want to live that too. It'll become a value that's not just what mom and dad have, but it'll be a value that they will have deep in their hearts, and they will live that. And so take that to heart this week. Challenge yourselves, and let's continue on this journey to build holy and good, happy, joyful families. All right. That's all I have. Have a wonderful week ahead. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.